Orange County, right?
Yes, that's correct. We're just having parties all the time and friends coming over and
Right.
so many social events that I can't even keep straight these days.
All via Zoom, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
Hello, this is Chrissy Carter with Global Positive News Network, and I have the privilege of introducing to you Bobby Barzi, who is the founder of FOData.com. And I've just got this off your website. I'm going to read it to our audience. FOData was started in May of 2012 with the mission of using a tangible good to carry a powerful message and fuel a movement. Today, we have been able to reach dads in 15 countries and put on free programs for thousands across the globe. Our clothing line celebrates, promotes, and supports great dads. Every purchase helps us brand the idea of great dads while funding free programs for dads and families, programs here and abroad, combating disease to promoting the importance of dad and kid interactivity to empowerment. So Bobby, welcome to Global Positive. It's fabulous to have you here.
Thank you, Christy. It's great to be here.
So Bobby, why did you start this company?
Christy, this was probably the impetus for the foundation or the base of what we have today is that I became a father myself. And I realized, we were all raised in families that the role of the father was different than what it is today. There is delineation between the responsibilities. You do this, I do this, which was fine. I was raised in a very loving household and I have a great relationship with my dad. But we didn't have those crossovers as much we have now. We didn't have that interactivity as much as we have now. Yeah. So when I became a father, I quickly realized that this was something that I really wanted to be supremely involved with.
Awesome.
And saw that this was an opportunity that I had to really connect with something that was deeply moving for me. So as I did more and more of that, I realized so many things, not only about the journey itself, but also about the opportunity that I had to work on me, and the concept that we share in some of our conversations that we have with dads and some of the talks that I give around the country is the idea of being more selfish and understanding how that relationship with your child can be so empowering for you and it provides you with what you need in order to then give back to them. So as I realized this, when my first son was born and we were going through this process, I thought, I have so many great friends and I know they're great guys and they're dads. I wonder if they feel the same way. And I would have these private conversations with them and just people in the community. And I realized there were bits and pieces, but they weren't feeling as supported enough to be open about it. In their own confined world, they may be open to it, but they didn't feel as if there was an audience or there was a need or there was an appetite. This is talking about 8 years ago, that this was not as prevalent back then. So I thought, you know what? I think this is something that's important, not only for the betterment of the child and the man, but also the spouse and the partner in the household. And then the product that comes out of that family unit is kids go to school with other kids. I work with other people. We socialize in the community with folks. And if we can lift that family unit, then it's a positive cascading effect for all of us, anybody that touches it. No one can argue that if you get into a relationship and you nurture it, it's going to be bad. So where I saw the deficiency was this unit and specifically in the general promotion of the concept. So I set out to do something about it. First and foremost, again, selfishly, in the legacy that I wanted to leave for my kids, in doing something that you believed in starting a business, and in helping others. That really was the impetus for the beginning. And that's how we came to the concept of doing something. And the second part was, I didn't want to come to you, Christy, and say, hey, Christy, this is really important to me. Can you give me $25? Because I was something about this. I wanted to be something that was part of your natural process. And as I'm sure you've seen right now, we're not really interacting with folks too much, but everybody wears clothes.
Right.
So if we can give them something that they love and they would patronize the business otherwise, we could then connect to them, because actually the clothing that you're wearing right now is closer to you than your loved ones. It's something that touches you all day.
Never even thought of that, but you're right.
Yeah, if that is something, and we all have our favorite pieces.
Yeah.
If it's something that you feel good in, and you're like, you know what, I love how this makes me feel, or I love how this feels on me.
Yeah.
What we wanted to do then was ingrain this message. And that message is exactly what we just talked about, which is we have an opportunity and a responsibility. What you choose to do with it is yours, but understand that that is there, and trying to change that perspective of there's something more to it. And if we can do it in an indirect way, such as, well, I was going to buy a shirt anyway, or I was going to gift someone something. And in that process, weave this into the conversation. So every time you wear it, you think about it. If you think about it, then you're able to communicate it. And if someone sees you wearing one of our shirts and they go, hey, you keep wearing that shirt because it's nice quality and you like wearing it, what's it about? Then you insert your own story and what it means to you. And Christy, I've been so blessed with the information and reach from so many different people from around the world. And it's amazing that some people love their dads. Some people want to be a dad. Some people did not have a good relationship with their dads. Some people have had, been in foster homes. And it's amazing the breadth and depth of this relationship and what it's meant to people in so many ways. That's why we say, you know what, although we are focused on this relationship, its impact is tremendous in communities. And if we just take a second and think, if we could say that we're doing a better job of nurturing this relationship, what would that mean in our communities? And what would that mean generally for us as a race?
Absolutely.
It's pretty remarkable. And we've been lucky to not only be able to produce the clothing, as I mentioned, but as you said at the onset of the conversation, we take the monies and then we fund programs that we see are beneficial towards this conversation in connecting dads and their kids and the communities and general awareness. So as of date, and I thank you for pointing it out, but we need to update our website. We're in 22 countries now. 22. And still lucky to fund all the programs for free, and really keep trying to press this message, which I still believe is one of the most important conversations we need to have and continue to press.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. That's wonderful. I also like what you have on your website about mental fitness.
Sure.
You know, that's huge. Can you talk about your category there called mental fitness? Because
sure.
That's big.
Absolutely. So as you saw, we have a variety of different programs that we put on from the ground up here. We push out to the communities, and we have a lot of community related, community requested programming that we support. So one of the ones that we launched 1 year ago in February of 2019 was this concept of mental fitness, which I think is so prevalent and even more so today based on what we're going through. And the idea was that if we can focus on the positive aspect of really working on what's between our ears, it's something that is so taboo, and it's so there's such a big disconnect because it's associated with, if anyone brings up anything about their mental health, then you automatically make some assumptions. As I've said, I'm sure you read on the website, but if you go to someone and say, hey, I went to the gym today, they say, good for you. How awesome that you're working on being healthy and doing something and being active. But if you say, hey, I had a conversation with my therapist, the first thought that comes to our head, and I don't fault anyone for this, is they think, what's wrong? What's happening?
Less of you, which is crazy. I mean, this is a big taboo like you're talking about, and we need to get over that in a big, huge way.
Absolutely. And even more so with men, and even more so with fathers, right? So what we're looking to do in the process of launching this campaign was using the parent and the father as a conduit in order to have them connect to the child, because we believe most of this happens in early childhood. If we don't promote this concept of mental fitness, which really relies on saying, hey, this muscle is just as important as any other muscle. And if we have an open dialogue and just feel more comfortable about it, we get a step closer. So it's not tomorrow you're going to be in the best mental shape ever. It's really about let's get you a step closer in feeling a little bit more comfortable. And as you saw, we have 5 easy steps, or mental fitness 5, what we call it, is to just get people to say, oh, this is not as taboo as I thought, or this doesn't scare me to even think about it. I can actually do something about this, and I don't feel like I'm being too vulnerable. So I can do these things for my child, but as a result, I get serviced in the process of being the initiator of it. And if you can get someone to feel, even reading that, saying, I get it, that's not too far-fetched, or I don't feel like I'm being pushed, then we get them a little bit closer to the table, which what we say is, we're not going to get people to get to the nth degree. And we believe most of the conversation right now around mental health is really around symptomatic approach rather than preventive approaches, is depression and school shootings and all these different things that get you to say, I'm actually going to close up more because I can't process this, or I don't know how to handle this information. So we're trying to say, well, let's take the other side of how we can continue to do easy steps in order to get closer. And this is very, very emblematic of the programs we put on, which is, let's just get people to feel a little bit more comfortable about the responsibility and the opportunities, which I indicated at the beginning, and get them a step closer. And that's all we're trying to do. Is we're not trying to solve world problems, but we're just hoping that what we insert into the conversation is something where people say, I didn't think about it that way. I want to talk about it. It's a perspective that's different, whatever that might be, at least get it into or integrated into their daily lives in some capacity.
Right. And that's all about self-empowerment, which if you can look at yourself and do a little bit of work on yourself, I think that it empowers yourself and it empowers others to be empowered. And I think that is kind of like the global healing process, if you will. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I started Global Positive News Network, is so that we can focus on the positive things in the world, because there's so many positive things.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Christy. And I think what I found in the probably the thousands of conversations that I've had since we started this is, there's so many people that have the desire and the yearning and the need for positivity. They just don't know where to get it. And they don't know how to process information to be able to then discern what is positive or what can be extracted from that which is positive. So they look for exactly what you mentioned, which is someone to empower them with that tool or with that support or with that concept where they say, okay, that's digestible for me. That's approachable for me. I actually think I can do something, rather than, oh my gosh, this seems like so much work and I can't even wrap my head around it because I have 93,000 priorities, which unfortunately have been put in front of this based on societal expectations. And now we just sort of table it because it's too tough of a conversation.
Yeah, some things like that are too overwhelming. So you can take little tiny pieces at a time.
Right.
And feel good to feel good. It feels good to feel good.
Sure does.
And that's why we're here on this earth, I think, is to feel good and to help each other and enjoy what we have. I mean, during this horrible COVID-19 thing, I so appreciate the sunlight, the air, plants, birds. Basic things, conversations like this.
Yes.
It's super essential. I just love it.
Absolutely. I hope, and I think this is one of those, it has tremendous relevance to what we're talking about, is what we're getting right now is an extremely unique opportunity that I think it's once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think most people, just like you mentioned, are looking at the negative side and the negative impact and all those things, which I completely understand. But there has to be a balance of, well, this is in some ways an incredible chance for me to do so many things and to look at things differently and get out of my routine that has been programmed into me for however many years I've been on this planet. And how do I take advantage of that? And how do I look at it and say, hey, is there something that I can do a little bit differently? And as you may have seen, we have expanded the business now and work with about 250 companies and brands. Because we believe the power of the relationship from a father to a child is very similar to a company as employees and a brand and a consumer, or an organization and a community. It's the same thing. There's so much inherent positive good in there.
Mm-hmm.
And we try and really push that. And this is what we're working with companies, not only
Mm-hmm.
dads and kids, on how do you empower, how do you first support,
Mm-hmm.
and then how do you empower your team members, your communities, your children, your students, to then see what's available to them and give them that first push to then be able to take the next step.
I love it. I love it. What a great message. I have like 5 other questions here and you pretty much covered everything.
Oh my gosh.
You're good. You're really good. So Bobby, what things do you have coming in the near future?
Well, we hopefully if things work out the way they should, one of our marquee events throughout the years, we work with incarcerated dads on getting them connected to their kids and the communities that they come from. So we have an event that we put on for some dads in some of the facilities that we work with. That's in August. So we're kind of getting ramped up for that. But generally speaking, what's happened today is sort of reinforced everything we do.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can say this, and it's amazing, and knock on wood, if you believe in that, is our constituents, our clients, the folks that believe in what we do, have doubled in their support of what we bring to the table. And I think that they get the fact, just as you mentioned, we're put here to really do some good and to feel good and to pass that along. So we feel that the work that we've been doing is now even more relevant and it's more important. So we're pushing on all fronts in making sure that the message of positivity, the message of the opportunity and responsibility that we have is front and center, because we need to balance that with obviously being very aware of what your surroundings are. But there needs to be that balance of, yes, I know that there's this critical stage of what's happening, but I also need to not forget this part of it, which is so important and balanced in the whole thing out. So we see ourselves as responsible for that and to push on that message front and to help people in getting to the next stage and to really, as we've talked about before, incrementally take a step forward.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Very well said. Wow.
Thank you.
So Bobby, what positive news do you want to share with our audience today?
Well, I think, I keep beating the same drum when I'm saying this. Is the wonderful thing that I've seen is that there's so many folks, so many companies, so many organizations, so many neighborhoods that are saying, wait a minute, we kind of have an opportunity here, and they want to do something rather than the messaging of the critical nature of what's going on here. They want to actually take on the position of, let's be who we want to be and let's be who we want to support us. Seeing that, even though in the business that I'm in and what we try and do is positive impact every day, all day, to see that come back to us and see the requests and see the value that individuals and community leaders and business leaders are seeing in this during this time of crisis, it's really inspiring to me. So I love that, and I love the fact that, again, this balance is existing. It may be not as showcased as it needs to be, and unfortunately, the media today is really focused on I wouldn't say doom and gloom, but really getting your attention with the critical parts of
all the numbers and
all the numbers,
all that.
right? Yeah. And there needs to be a balance of, hey, what's this other side? And seeing that these folks are coming to us and asking for us to support them in this, it further motivates us and further inspires us. And I can't wait to continue to tell this message to other folks so they see that, okay, yes, we're dealing with something that's incredibly important, but the other side of that important is making sure that we realize our responsibility and opportunity in, just like you said, supporting every part of our network and empowering ourselves so they can then be empowered. So that is my good news is that I'm seeing more and more of that.
I love it.
That tells me, that balance is naturally coming to play, which is the wonderful way of the world, and I love it.
Well, I want to urge our viewers to go to your website and take a look around. Bobby Barzi, again, the founder of fodata.com, has just created a fantastic website. The store has some lovely clothes for both men and women. They have programs like Dads and Me, the Red Beanie campaign, and so much more. Bobby, thank you so much for being here on this interview. It's just been an absolute pleasure to meet you, and I wish you the best in the near future and the extended future.
Thank you so much, Christy. And thank you for the work that you do and getting the information out there to your constituents. It's so incredibly important, and we need more of it.
Thank you. Well, you're going to be getting a lot more coming in the future. So
Fantastic.
thanks again and have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.